Excellency.
I congratulate the organizers for the inventiveness of the program that has integrated the cultural and social experience with a formal structured
Seketi, asanteni sana.
I will not belabor you with Kenya's tea history. It has already been highlighted from 1903 to 1924. And therefore, I will skip that bit of my speech and continue to say that we have come a long way in the tea journey, and even as the minister said, our Minister of Agriculture,
President William Ruto amewasalamia.
The fight of those who fought for your independence, for our independence. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure as well as other crops at this centenary celebration, and therefore marking 100 years. Not only our very unique service exports, it's not only our gold and the treasure of our country to the rest of the world, but tea is also part. I am particularly delighted to welcome our visitors freedom and who are present here today. 84 years today, every part of Kenya after tea was commercialized, particularly those who have come out of Kenya. We have made exemplary strides as a country. I warmly welcome you, tea growing, those who have come from outside 21 counties, beautiful country, supporting over 800,000 farmers, our coastal city of Mombasa. More than 6.5 million people. I was also with my brother, the governor of Mombasa. Directly or indirectly, he's engaged in another function with this town. He has sent his greetings and apologies as well. As has been said, it is my hope that while you are here, those of you have come from outside Kenya, you get to enjoy the ambiences, comfort and tranquility as well as of Mombasa, the world's premier tourist destination. Today, and the true home of Hakuna Matata. Our tea has grown in terms of quality. Ladies and gentlemen, I take note of the fact that these celebrations were preceded by the Tea Heritage Week held in Karatina University. It is grown in natural conditions. I am informed that with very little that university event gave the sector Kenyan tea an opportunity to share information on various innovations in tea production and showcase the Kenyan tea as our national heritage. What the Tea Board of Kenya is doing. I congratulate the organizers, stakeholders to market our for the inventiveness of the program that has integrated the cultural and social experience campaign with the formal, and will be more than happy to join you when I can. I will not belabor you with Kenya's tea history. It has already been in the places highlighted from 1903 to 1924. I think I have a bit more now of leverage. Skip that bit of my speech travel because I have not been able to travel to say because of the previous that we have come a long way, doing, which compelled me to stay within the territory of the Kenya 24 hours, 7 days a week, including on Christmas Day. The minister said, the only person of Agriculture, for the last 2-3 years, I've not been able to even go on Christmas. Fight when those who fought for Christmas for our independence to get us and I can see people as well as familiar with that story, like Mheshimiwa Coffee and Rueda here from Lamu. Those were some of the places I used to spend my Christmas very unique with our frontline exports. Officers. It's not only our gold and the treasure of our country, but tea, as I have said, is also part of our national very strong brand. It's embedded tea, just like our athletes for the freedom and we need liberation of our leverage on that 84 years prominence of that today, brand to sell our tea was commercialized, and in many we parts have made of the world, exemplary strides as a country today. The developed world tea growing cuts across 21 counties, major supporting over 800,000 for breakfast and also for 4 o'clock. More than 6.5 million people. I want to congratulate all stakeholders, directly or indirectly, and actors here today for the contribution you made to make our tea what it is today. As has been said, contributes to about 2% of our GDP. Yes, it is only KTDA after diaspora remittances, members of parliament who have done a good job in terms of anchoring this sector in a sound tourism and regulatory framework. I salute all of you. And when I say
Our
members of
tea has
parliament,
grown in terms
both
of
houses
quality
of
and
parliament
and
National
safety.
Assembly and Senate.
And one of the reasons why
Ladies and
our
gentlemen,
tea
the socio-economic
continues to
importance
maintain its
of the
quality
tea subsector cannot
and
be
safety is
gainsayed.
because it is
The tea
grown in
industry
natural conditions
is not only
with very
an
little
engine of economic
chemical
growth, but it's a
input.
key anchor to our
Kenyan tea,
sustainability
just
and
like our
environmental
athletes,
conservation. Is a globally many of
recognized
us here
and
can attest
outstanding brand.
to the role tea growing has played
appreciate
in
what the
supporting
Tea
our
Board of Kenya
education.
is doing,
Many
and the other
families
stakeholders to market
have
our tea
educated
abroad.
their children in
And
the last
I
few
want
decades,
to
especially
commit
from
to
the tea
support
growing
that
areas,
marketing
or a place like Mombasa where
campaign,
the last mile
and will
of
be
the
more than
tea
happy
marketing
to
is
join
done
you when I
as the
can.
tea leaves our country through
When
the
you go to
employment created
market
in
our
the
tea
entire
in the
supply
places
chain.
where our
Production
tea is
and supply chain.
exported. I
Many
think I have
families
a
have
bit more
educated their
now of
children
leverage
from this sector. The
to
sector
travel
has
because I've
traditionally
not been able to travel
represented a major
because
source
of
of
the
income
previous national
and
duty I
employment,
was doing,
especially
which
for
compelled
rural
me to
communities
stay
of
within
our
the
country.
territory of the Kenya
Smallholder
24
farmers.
hours, 7 days a week, including on Christmas Day. I'm the only person who, for the last 2-3 years, have not been able to even go on Christmas. When we are on Christmas vacation, I am on duty, and I can see people who are familiar with that story, like Weshimua and Rueda here from Lamu. Those were some of the places I used to spend my Christmas with our frontline officers in the security sector. Therefore, as I have said, this is a very, very strong brand, our Kenyan tea, just like our athletes, and we need to leverage on that prominence of that brand to sell our tea abroad. And in many parts of the world, including the developed world, Kenyan tea is a major staple for breakfast and also for 4 o'clock refreshment in many homes. I want to congratulate all stakeholders and actors here today for the contribution you've made to make our tea what it is today. And I want to appreciate the role of the ministry, Minister, PS, Tea Board, KTDA, farmers, members of parliament who have done a good job in terms of anchoring this sector in a sound legal and regulatory framework. I salute all of you. And when I say members of parliament, both houses of parliament, National Assembly and
This
Senate.
holiday season, don't miss out
Ladies
on
and
the
gentlemen,
biggest
the
sale of the year.
socio-economic
A sale
importance
so
of the
big,
tea
even
subsector
Santa
cannot
can't
be
resist.
gainsaid. The tea industry is not only an engine of economic growth,
Get yourself a
but
gift
it's a
worth
key
keeping
anchor
at
to our
Furniture Palace.
sustainability and environmental
Visit any of our stores
conservation.
or shop online at
Many of us
furniturepalacekenya.com.
here can attest to the role tea
Welcome to
growing
QNet's
has
world of new
played in
beginnings, where
supporting our
every
education.
sunrise is a promise of
Many
our commitment
families
to you, your health,
have
your
educated their
dreams,
children
your planet,
in
and
the
your
last few
community.
decades, especially from the tea growing areas, many of whom are
Or
women.
a place like
account
Mombasa
for
where
over 60%
the last mile
of
of the
global
tea
tea
marketing is
production
done
as the tea leaves our
Women
country
play a crucial role
through
in
the
the tea
employment
industry,
created in
the
substantially
entire
contributing to
supply
its
chain,
sustainability,
production
productivity,
and supply
and
chain.
community development.
Many families
especially
have educated their
because
children
tea
from
is
this
labor
sector.
The sector has
Intensive.
traditionally
And it
represented a
provides
major source of income,
many decent
and
jobs.
employment, especially
And these jobs
for
are
rural
mostly
communities
preferred
of our
by
country.
women.
Tea
Smallholder
cultivation
farmers,
also
many of
promotes
whom are women,
sustainable farming
account
practices
for over 60%
and environmental
of global
conservation,
tea production.
helping to mitigate climate
Women
change.
play a crucial
Because
role in the tea
one
industry.
of the threats now
Substantially
our
contributing
contributing
to
to
its
its sustainability,
facing
productivity,
is the threat of
and
climate
community
change
development,
that
especially
is disrupting
because
weather
tea
patterns
is labor
and also
intensive,
introducing
harsh,
and it
and
provides
radically
many
different
decent jobs
weather conditions.
and
that
these
would
jobs are
affect the
mostly
quality
preferred by women.
of our tea. Cultivation also promotes
For this reason,
sustainable
the government
farming
has
practices
recognized
and
the tea
environmental
subsector as a
conservation,
key anchor
helping
to the
to
economy.
mitigate climate change.
With the
bottom-up
one of the
economic
threats
transformation
now,
agenda,
our
placing
tea farming
tea
among
growing is facing
our priority
is the threat
value
of climate
chains,
change, which
that
will
is
develop
disrupting weather patterns
alongside other
and
value
also
chains
introducing
like coffee,
harsh, like
and
radical
cotton, and
different
coconut weather
and-
conditions
and
that
so
would
forth,
affect the
and leather
quality
and
everything
of
else that this
our
country
tea.
can generate
in the area
For
of
this reason, the
agriculture and
government has
livestock
recognized the tea subsector
safeguard
as
the
a key
heritage and
anchor
reputation
to
of
the
Kenyan
economy.
tea,
And to ensure
with the bottom-up
sustainability
economic
of the
transformation
tea
agenda,
subsector,
placing
the
tea
government has
among
continued to address
our
the challenges
priority
facing
value chains.
the tea value
which
chain.
will develop
Chief among these
alongside
is the high
other
cost
value
of
chains
production
like
and
coffee,
processing,
like
market access,
cotton,
lack of value
coconut,
addition, and dependence on
and
markets
so
that
forth, and
consume
leather and everything
the
else that this
CTC
country
tea.
can
That
generate
is the crush,
in the area
tear,
of agriculture and
cull
livestock
tea.
production.
There are also
To safeguard
challenges
the
around
heritage and
quality
reputation of Kenyan
concerns
tea
and
perennial
to ensure
governance
sustainability
challenges
of the tea
in
subsector.
smallholder tea
The government has
factories.
continued to address the challenges
The agriculture
facing
pillar
the
in the
tea
Kenya
value chain.
Kwanza
Chief
plan
among these
is
the high cost of
subsidizing
production and processing,
rather than
market
subsidizing
access, lack of
consumption.
value addition, and
This
dependence on
broad target
markets that
is to
consume ensure
the
we
CTC
improve agricultural
tea,
product
that is the
productivity
crush,
to
tear,
guarantee
and
food
cull
tea. There are also challenges around quality concerns and perennial governance challenges in smallholder tea factories. The agriculture pillar in the Kenya Kwanza plan is anchored on subsidizing production rather than subsidizing consumption. This broad target is to ensure we improve agricultural productivity to guarantee food security in the country, create jobs, and increase Kenya's exports. Of significant import has been efforts to reduce the cost of production and bring higher earnings to tea farmers. In this regard, the government has, over the last 2 years, supported tea farmers to access over 180,000 metric tons of subsidized fertilizer at a subsidized price of 2,500 shillings per 50 kilogram bag. This year, the government has allocated and disbursed 2 billion shillings to support the distribution of 97,000 metric tons of subsidized fertilizer to tea farmers. Similarly, there has been remarkable progress in resolution of the governance challenges at KTDA by holding elections, which were held recently. These elections ushered in fresh new leadership. Several legal and institutional reforms have also been put in place to enhance the performance of the subsector. Currently, amendments to the Tea Act 2020 is ongoing, while some of the tea regulations required to operationalize the Act are being developed. However, ladies and gentlemen, there is much more that needs to be done. One, there are concerns about tea quality that remain a challenge to this sector as we look into the future. As the Cabinet Secretary has said, we have had cases of significant quantities of sold volumes of tea which could not be sold, the reason being issues around the quality of those volumes. Whereas the removal of minimum prices has now been effected to allow trading flexibility and the clearance of stocks, significant efforts must be made to secure quality standards. Indeed, if buyers continue rejecting our tea over quality issues, we must anticipate that tea farmers will receive lower earnings and consequently impact upon the quantity produced. The corporate governance reforms, another issue which is of concern to this sector going forward. These reforms that have been identified in the various task force recommendations over the years, as well as the expected audit findings announced by the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, must also be prioritized. The challenge of conflict of interest in the management and operations of the various smallholder factories and KTDA should remain a core focus of the new leadership in the sector. The challenges facing tea production and tea are very many and so inextricably intertwined that effective and workable solutions should be holistic. The government will continue working with the stakeholders on market expansion for tea to new and emerging markets, while at the same time developing the traditional markets. Other support that will be provided under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda framework include supporting smallholder factories to diversify into orthodox tea with a view to reduce the pressure on CTC tea prices occasioned by oversupply. As you are aware, Kenyan farmers have traditionally relied on the conventional methods of tea production: plucking, withering, rolling, oxidation, and drying, which, while profitable, offers less income potential than value-added teas. Value addition has the potential to increase smallholder farmers' incomes when compared with non-value-added conventional tea. We should strive to encourage packaging, branding, blending, and other value addition elements. We must also adopt technology and innovation to product development, product diversification, continued research and development in the tea industry present an opportunity for the industry to develop products aligned to the new and emerging sophisticated consumer demands, including shifting preferences by the youthful generation. Climate change, another challenge, is impacting the tea subsector as with all other sectors of the economy. Changes in temperatures and rainfall patterns, with more floods and droughts, are steadily affecting yields, tea product quality and prices, lowering incomes and threatening rural livelihoods. These climate changes are expected to intensify, calling for urgent adaptation measures. We must design and implement climate practices that mitigate the negative impact of climate change in the sector, both on the adaptation and mitigation front, into our national tea development strategies. I am glad to note that despite the challenges that have been facing the subsector in recent years, the performance of the industry has remained afloat and weathered the challenges of the global economic shocks affecting key markets for our tea. Last year, export earnings from tea reached a record 180 billion shillings, up from 138 billion shillings the previous year. Going by the export earnings so far until the end of October this year, which is at 156 billion, compared to 141 billion for the same period of last year, it is expected that export earnings by the end of this year will rise by at least 16% to reach 211 billion. I reiterate the government's commitment to continuously address the current and emerging issues in the tea industry, looking into the future with a view to safeguarding this national heritage of Kenya, our tea, to ensure sustainability of the subsector. We need to leverage on the legacy of the last 100 years, taking into account the emerging issues. I congratulate the organizers once again for creating the opportunity for our coming together as friends, partners, colleagues, and regulators to celebrate our successes and redesign our future, bonding over a cup of tea. In an increasingly complex and ever-innovating world, we must endeavor to preserve the special place of the Kenyan tea in Kenya's history and heritage. Good people, allow me to thank you for listening, and allow me to say that the best for the Kenyan tea is ahead of us. The best of Kenyan tea is ahead of us. Tea is giving us foreign exchange, the third earner of our foreign exchange after diaspora remittances and tourism. Tea is giving us jobs, especially in rural communities, and especially for our women who find a lot of decent jobs in this industry. And therefore, going forward, the government will continue to invest in this subsector. This administration, under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, believes that the only way to revive our agriculture and take it to the next century, modernize agriculture, including tea production, is by investing and putting resources in the production process as opposed to subsidizing the consumption of our products. And it is in that regard the government will continue enhancing the amounts that we allocate to the inputs that go into the production of tea, particularly fertilizer, as I have already stated, and also modernizing the technologies that we use to produce our tea to make sure that we have better quality tea production. And also, the government will continue to invest in value addition to make sure that we increase the earnings that we get from our tea. The challenges that this sector continues to face around governance, we have begun working on those challenges, and I want to thank all the stakeholders for making this possible. The two houses of parliament, county assemblies in some respect, county governments, the national government, Ministry of Agriculture, Tea Board, KTDA, and all the actors, agents and brokers, and all the actors in the value chain. We are grateful for agreeing to cooperate for the purpose of modernizing and enhancing the value of our tea sector by improving the governance situation in the sector. And there is no turning back. Let me clarify, there is no turning back in tea, coffee, and other reforms. There is no turning back. There is no turning back. And I repeat, there is no turning back. The government will not relent. And because my last national assignment, I was the security minister of the country, I want to assure you, I will bring that firmness in this new assignment. The firmness of keeping the country first and placing the interest of our nation beyond any other interest. I therefore want to plead with us to cooperate, because the reform in the tea sector must, by all means possible. There are no two ways about it. There will be no roadblock. There will be no obstacle. There will be no hurdle. We will succeed for the sake of our country and for the sake of the farmers who sweat out to make sure that they give us this proud product that we sell and boast of all over the world. Mimi najua hapo kutakuwa na matatizo, lakini tutaendelea. We will reform our tea sector, because if it is giving us this value with all the challenges, you can imagine what it will do if we removed the challenges we have. Issues of governance are non-negotiable. They are non-negotiable. And I know what normally happens, because again of the experience I've had in other responsibilities before. Some of the entrenched practices that place a barrier on our success. Whenever there is a new holder of office, they say, we have seen many people. We have seen many ministers. We have seen many deputy presidents. We have seen many presidents. My friends, this administration is different. I assure you, President Ruto and all of us, we will succeed in reforming the tea sector. Luckily, when the reforms succeed, everybody will be happy, including those who are opposing the reforms. They will be happy. But before we get there, we must do the heavy lifting. And I want to congratulate my brother CS, my brother PS, the tea board people, KTDA. So far, you have done a lot of work, and I'm sure I will pick where my predecessor left to coordinate those reforms and make sure that we succeed. The quality issue, we must address it. Some of the quality issues are beyond our control because some of the factors that are impact on our quality is, for example, climate change. But we can mitigate and adapt our production processes to make sure that we minimize the effects of climate change in the quality of our tea. Diversification, of course, venturing into new products within this tea subsector, value addition, as I have said. Kwa hayo mengi na machache na washukuru. I wish I could stay longer, but maybe next time. I have promised to, I've given my commitment to Minister Karanja and PS Rono and all the other stakeholders, including our colleagues from Parliament, the two houses of Parliament. Very soon, in the next 2 weeks, I want to invite you for a fairly informal brainstorming roundtable so that you can bring me to speed from different sectors, angles, and players where we are on this process so that as we continue working together, we are all reading from the same script. I promise we should do that, Minister, in the next 2 weeks so that we are all aligned. Nashukuru sana.